And then centering yourself on the mat. And having your palms facing the ceiling. And your arms are by your side. And we're going to take a couple of breaths here. And the idea is actually to settle yourself onto the mat and start to unwind and set yourself up for the next hour in the right frame of mind. So breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And allowing the body and the upper back to sink into the mat. This time take your focus to your mind and breathe in, and on the next out breath allow any unwanted thoughts or busy minds to let go and release on the out breath. Breathing in, and then again on the out breath, allowing the hips this time to sink into the mat. And if your mind wanders, that's absolutely fine. Just bring it back to the breath and breathing in and out. And then perhaps set an intention for the class today. So this might be about the way you do something, your approach. Might be a physical intention, so achieving something physical that you've been working on. It might be a mental intention, as in the approach that you want to take something. And then blinking the eyes open, and we'll start with walking the feet so that the feet are flat on the mat and placing the palms flat on the floor. Draw the right knee towards the chest and give it a little hug in towards you. So we're just hugging the knee in, and then lengthen the left leg away from you and feel the stretch in the hip flexor. Then we're going to do small circles with the right knee at the hip. So you're massaging the hip by circling the right knee one way and then the other way. And then lifting the right foot up towards the ceiling, we're just going to have a little stretch of that leg. So reaching the foot up, and now it might be not so straight at this moment in time because it's the first stretch of the day, or it might be your first yoga class, and that's fine. Bend the knee and have the shin parallel with the floor. Take the right hand and place it over the left knee, and you're going to move your right knee over towards the right. So we're having a little bit of a hip opener. So we're opening the right knee out towards the right. Draw the knee back up towards the ceiling and take the right knee with your left hand this time, and draw the left knee over towards the right knee over towards the left, and the right arm comes out in a T position beside you. Take your gaze over towards your right hand and feel the stretch in the hip. Release the left hand from the right knee and draw the right knee back up to the ceiling, and then place the right foot onto the floor flat. Draw the left knee up towards you, and we'll repeat all of that on the left hand side. So the left knee comes in and you hug it nice and tight, feeling the stretch in the hip. Lengthen the right leg away from you and feel the stretch in the right hip flexor. Small circles, so we're drawing the left knee around in circles, so one way and the other way, warming up the hips. Lengthen the left leg and reach the left foot towards the ceiling, taking your hands behind the left thigh or the left knee or the left calf if you can reach it, but mine is a little bit stiff today. Bend the left leg again and then take the left hand over the left knee and draw the left knee over towards the left. So we're opening the hip out. Now it might not reach to the floor, but we're just feeling a little bit of a stretch in that left hip. Bring the left knee back up towards the ceiling and take the right hand and place it over the left knee. And then draw that left knee over towards the right hand side. And we're going to get a lower back stretch. So take the left arm out in a T position in line with the shoulders, and we're drawing the left shoulder down and making a connection between the right knee and the left hand. Release the right hand from the left knee and draw that left hip back. And then reach out. We're going to have a full body stretch at this point. So lifting the arms above the head, lengthen the legs in front, down towards the end of the mat. And we're just reaching the hands above our head and the feet down at the bottom for a complete full body stretch. And then bending the arms and just rolling over onto your right hand side and coming up to a seated position for, and then all fours for a little bit more of a stretch. So a nice little bit of a hip warm up to start with. So I'm going to come into our cow-cat stretches that we normally do, and we'll do a little bit of a variation today. So palms nice and underneath the shoulders, fingers nice and wide, and the knees underneath the hips, and we'll do our cow-cat stretches to start. So tipping the pelvis forward, we're going to arch the spine, breathing in and taking our gaze up towards the ceiling. Exhale and round the spine, round the back, take the gaze towards the thighs. Again, inhale, tipping the pelvis forward, arching the back, lifting the head. Exhale, tucking the pelvis under. And then coming into a neutral position. And we're going to stretch and reach our right leg behind us for a stretch. So keep the foot flexed and flex the heel, and we're just taking that foot back. So the foot is on the floor and we're just sending the energy down the right heel to stretch the back of the leg. Lift the right leg off the floor and draw your belly button in for a hover. So we're hovering our leg off the floor, it's in line with our hip. And then if we can, reaching the left arm in front of us. Again, drawing our core muscles in. Lower the hand and lower the knee. Good. And we'll do that on the left hand side. So stretch the left foot back. And foot is on the floor, flexed, and we're just sending the energy down the back of the leg, reaching that leg forward back to the back, stretching the back muscle, the back of the leg muscles, and then lift the left leg off the floor, drawing the core muscles in, and then lifting the right arm up, so in opposition, and we'll just balance there if you can. If you can't, you can always just place your arm down again. So we're drawing our belly in, activating the core muscles. And then lower the right hand down and lower the left leg down. And then I'm going to rotate over towards the front, the long edge of the mat. And we're going to do a little bit of side core work as well. So we've just been working on the core muscles just here. So I'm going to take my right leg and place it out over towards the right hand side. I'm placing my left hand down, and I'm going to lift my right arm up towards the sky, so I'm in a perpendicular position just here. So if you can do that, that's really great. And then if we want to, we can extend that leg and make it nice and long. If you can get to that position and hold it, that's great. And if you want to extend it even further, lifting that right leg off the floor. So, and we're pulling up in the left waist. So we're working those core muscles and holding. And holding and holding. And again, if it finding it a little bit hard work, you can always lower the foot. Lower the foot this time, and we'll just do a little bit of a stretch. So send that right arm all the way over your head and feel a nice stretch down the side of the body. Bring that leg in and then lift yourself upright, and then come back to a kneeling position nice and safely, and we'll do that on the other side. So take the left leg up, start in that square position, which gives you quite a lot of stability, and then we're placing the right hand down onto the mat. Find that strength, so we're lifting up in the right hand side, and then if we can bring our arm up towards the ceiling, again making it perpendicular. Lengthen that left leg on the floor, and if you can do that, that's great. And then take it to the next level, which is lifting that leg off the floor in line with the hip, and if we can balance, we try and do that. Holding the leg up, reaching and then lowering the leg down, bending the leg, giving you some support, and then lifting yourself upright, and then coming back into a kneeling position. And we're going to come into child's pose at this point. So swivel the legs round, and I'm going to come into a child's pose just here. So open the knees to either side of the long edge of the mat. I'm bringing my hips towards my heels, and I'm gently walking my hands towards the floor. I'm going to stay here for 4 breaths. Just with each breath, allowing my body to relax and my hips to soften. So I'm breathing in through the nose and then out through the mouth, and feel the hips relax and soften. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and feel the rib cage and middle back soften. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and feel the chest soften. And finally, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and feel the shoulders relax. And then walking the hands back upright. We're going to come into camel pose, modified. So I'm going to come back to a kneeling position. So just here, and lifting myself up nice and high. My hands are going to come into that lower back just here, and I'm drawing my elbows in together. My knees is a little bit wider than hip distance, so I can draw my hips forward. I'm going to breathe in, and on the out breath, drawing my hips forward and taking my gaze up towards the sky for a modified camel pose. And then bringing yourself back upright, and then coming back down towards the mat into all fours. So we're going to do what's called hovering cat. So I'm going to have my feet flat on the mat, and I'm going to take the weight into my hands and hover my knees 2 inches off the floor. I haven't got my toes tucked under. So it's a preparation for downward dog. So I'm going to breathe in, and on the out breath, lifting the knees off the floor, engaging the core muscles and drawing those knees up. And again, I might have a little bit of a curve in the spine, hovering my knees off. I'm engaging my thighs, I'm engaging my glutes, and I'm engaging my core muscle. Breathing in and out. And then I'm going to lower my knees down on the next out breath. Keeping my knees here and my hips up nice and high, I'm going to come into extended puppy pose. So I'm going to bring myself to my forearms. So I'm not going into child's pose, I'm keeping my hips high. I'm on my forearms now, and I'm going to walk my hands forward and bring my chest down towards the floor as a preparation for downward dog. And again, it's a nice chest opener, feeling the chest open and stretch, and your forehead might go to the floor. If you need to, you can take your gaze to your hands as well, but see how you feel. And we're going to stay here this time for 3 breaths because it's a little bit more intense than child's pose. So we should be feeling that stretch across the chest and across the upper back. Breathing in and out. And then on the next out breath, walking those hands back and then coming back into all fours. And we'll come into our first downward dog. So tuck those toes under, breathe in, and on the out breath we're going to lift our knees up, draw our chest towards our thighs, and just make some small adjustments for your first downward dog. So walking the dog out, so paddling the feet, moving the hips a little bit side to side so you ease out some stiffness in the lower back and the backs of the legs. And we'll stay here for 3 breaths, breathing in and out, in and out, in and out. And on the next out breath, I'm going to walk or jump my feet towards my hands. So I'm walking my feet towards my hands, bringing myself into a forward fold. And I'm going to bend my knees, and my feet are going to be in line with my hips. So just make those small adjustments so that you can feel your chest on your thighs. And my knees are definitely bent. And I'm going to just shake my head from side to side, and my arms are loose and relaxed in front of me. I'm feeling that stretch. And again, you might want to do a yes action. So nod the head forward and back, and then nod the head in a no action side to side, easing out any tension that you might be holding. And then I'm going to come into a little bit of a side stretch. So I'm going to straighten, bring my hands a little bit further up actually, walk my hands up towards my thighs, and I'm going to lengthen my spine out in front of me. So I've got my knees bent and a modified monkey pose. So my knees are bent but my spine is nice and straight and it's parallel with the floor. And then from this position I'm just going to keep my back in this parallel position but lengthen my legs and feel the legs straightening and my body maintaining that parallel position with the floor. Breathe in, and then on the out breath, bend the knees again and just allow the hips to lower but my back stays in line. So I'm just warming up my knees and warming up the backs of my legs. Breathe in, lengthen the legs, keep the back straight, and I'm just straightening my legs. Warming up. Bend on the exhale and dip the hips nice and low, and then breathe in and bring the body upright. This time on the out breath, we keep the legs straight and we come into our forward fold, whatever that look like. So we're easing into a forward fold, working towards getting my legs straight. Again, we'll just hang here for a little bit, feeling the lower back loosen, and you can check the spine again by nodding and shaking the head. This time I want you to keep the right leg straight, but we're going to bend the left leg. So we should be feeling one leg straight, one leg's bent, and my right hand is either going to come to my shin, my foot, or the floor. My left hand is going to float up towards the ceiling, and I'm going to do a twist in this position just here. So I'm opening out and feeling an extra stretch down the back of my leg, and my gaze comes up towards the ceiling if I can. If I can't, I can always keep my arm parallel with the floor. And we're aiming to reach. On the out breath, lowering the left hand down, Bend the right leg and keep the left leg straight this time. Lifting the right leg up, right arm towards the ceiling and opening the chest. Breathe in, and then again on the out breath, lowering the right arm down. And then we're going to come into chair pose. So drop the hips, bend the knees, and then bring the body upright and bring the hands in chair pose either towards your hips, out in front of you, nice and in parallel with the floor, or towards the ears, and your shoulders are into your back. And I'm drawing my belly button in towards me, breathing in and out here. Breathe in and out, in and out, in. And on the next out breath, lengthening the legs and feeling yourself come nice and straight and tall. And we're in a nice straight and tall position just to come to here. So we're going to do some work in a mountain pose just here for a little bit of a stretch. So make sure that it's our first mountain pose. So spread your toes nice and wide and get those nice and wide. And find a really great strong base. My feet are in line with my hips, and I'm just going to stand nice and tall. So I'm lifting up slightly at the front, gently tucking my tailbone under, stacking my shoulders on top of my hips, and my arms are forward, and I'm feeling nice and connected with the earth. Breathe in. And on the next next in breath, we're going to lift the arms nice and high, and our hands come to prayer position, and exhale, our hands come to heart center. Push the heels of the hands together and lift the elbows. I'm going to do a little mudra with little flow with the arms. So I'm going to point my fingers are pointing upwards. I'm going to point my fingers downwards but keep my arms in relation. So I should be feeling a stretch in my forearms. Lift my hands back up. And then I'm going to push my hands over towards the right, keeping my body in line. So I'm bringing my forehands over. I'm going to take my gaze over towards the left and keep pushing. Feeling a stretch in the chest. Bring the hands in front of you. And then interlace the fingers. And then push the backs of the hands away. Inhale, lift the arms nice and high, lower the shoulders down into the back. And then exhale, lower the hands down. And then bring the hands back into the chest, elbows nice and high. And return your hands back into Namaste, prayer position. And we'll do that again on the other side. And you might want to have a little micro bend in the knee so you don't push back into the knee so much. So lift the hands, elbows nice and high, push the heels of the hands together. Draw the fingers down towards the floor, feeling the stretch in the forearm, but keeping the elbows high. Lift the hands back up. Push the hand over towards the left hand side and take a gaze over towards the right, feeling the stretch across the chest. Bring the gaze forward and bring the hands center with the body. Interlace the fingers and send the palms of the hands away from you. Breathe in, lift those hands up towards the chest, feeling a nice stretch. And then lowering the shoulders down into the back and lower the hands down. Bring the hands towards you and then bring your hands back into prayer position. Sweep the hands behind and we'll do a little bit of a chest opener. So interlace the fingers behind. Bring the hands down into the back and then lift the chest nice and high towards the ceiling. Exhale and then keep the hands interlaced, but you're going to come to a forward fold and your arms are going to reach behind you for an extra stretch. Sweep those hands back down the body and then rolling up through the spine and releasing the hands. Excellent. We're going to test our balance now. So I'm going to just take return to my mountain pose. a little bit just here, and take my feet and weight forward over the balls of my feet. I'm going to test my balance by breathing in, and I'm lifting my heels nice and high, and I'm going to take my arms up towards the ceiling, floating my way up. Breathe out and float my heels down towards the floor. And then just bend the knees and give the hips a little bit of a wiggle, and we'll do that once more, easing out. Let's do that once more. Breathe in, lifting the arms nice and high, lifting the heels, testing your balance. Breathe out, lowering the hands down, finding the floor, finding the ground, bending the knees, and then again just feeling that balance, testing those hips. So we're going to come into eagle pose, and we started this on Monday a little bit, so I'll repeat that because it's something we can work on, and it's a really great grounding pose. It helps you focus, but it also is massages your stretches across the back and massages your innards as well. So we're going to breathe in, and my arms are going to come in line with my shoulders. I'm going to take my right arm over my left hand, and either my hands come towards my shoulders, backs of the hands together, or twisting around and palms facing. I'm going to, so this is level one, and if we just do that, that's fine. Level two is with the legs, and I'm going to take my left leg over my right leg, and it's going to prop onto the floor. I'm going to take a seated position, and I'm going to sit down, but my foot is helping me and giving me some support. Level three is tucking that foot. It's off the floor, and it's aiming to tuck behind that leg. So we can choose whichever way we'd like, depending which position we're in. And again, finding a focal point and concentrating on the balance that we've just working on. Bringing your focus inward, in your body, grounding into the floor, bending the knees, connection with the earth. Inhale, release, and exhale, bring both legs to the floor. And we'll just have a little bit of a hip, because we should ease out any tension, and all for that. And we'll try that on the other side. So inhale, lifting the arms up. This time the left arm goes over the right, hands on the shoulders, backs of the palms facing, or palms to palms facing. And then we're going to take if we need to, shift the weight over to the standing leg, which is the left leg, and bring the right over the leg this time. And then it's either on the floor, propping you up, or behind, or if you're just standing on both legs, that's absolutely fine. Bend at the knees, lifting the elbows up, and finding that two-way stretch between the earth and the sky. Inhale, lifting and straightening your legs, and then releasing and back down. And we'll just do one chest opener, as a counter pose. So we'll return back to our interlacing fingers behind us, and we draw our hands down our chest and open the chest and take our gaze up as we breathe in. And then breathe out, and then bringing your chest upright. So we're going to come into some of our strong poses, some of the strength work. And I thought we would come into a triangle pose, because we haven't done that for a while. So I'm going to take my right foot to the top of the mat, and I'm going to take my left foot to the back of the mat, and I'm going to rotate my left foot in slightly. So this is a good opportunity if you're just to kind of check on your technique, particularly I know that when we're moving quite quickly in a say a vinyasa flow class, sometimes we lose the technique a bit. Well, I certainly do, and I'm moving and trying to talk, so this is quite a nice opportunity to refresh what I'm doing. So make sure the right foot is pointing to the short edge of the mat, and my left toes are pointing slightly inward. I'm going to draw my right hip to the long edge of the mat, so I'm staying quite flat. I'm going to inhale and I'm going to lift my arms up in line with my shoulders. Breathing in. As I breathe out, I'm extending my right arm out and away at the waist. So I'm pitching forward sideways. I'm then going to drop forward, and my hand is either going to come towards my thigh, towards my shin or ankle, or all the way to the floor. And my left hand can either come towards my hip at a diagonal or perpendicular with my right hand. So you find a pose that you can do, and we're there. And we're trying to open out as if we're in two panes of glass. So really try and take your gaze up and away. And just holding that and feeling that nice stretch. Breathe in and use that arm to lift yourself up with. Exhale and then lower the hands. Bend the knee and then just draw that foot in nice and so that both feet, both toes are pointing to the long edge of the mat. And we're going to do a forward fold here. So I'm going to breathe in, my hands come towards my shoulders. I'm going to breathe out, I'm going to pitch forward at the waist. And I'm going to do a simple forward fold, bringing my hands towards the earth and allowing my body to reach over. So we might want to check out what our good width of our feet is. I quite like a little bit wider, but again, your width is very much up to you. And again, allowing your body to fall forward, really nice and simple. So your hands can either reach towards the floor, they can go towards your ankles and draw your chest forward, or they can reach between the legs and reaching the chest forward as well. And then walking the hands forward if they're on the floor. Bend the knees, rolling up through the spine, and then coming up to standing. We're going to return back to this warrior two pose for now. So I'm going to come into warrior two. So my right foot comes back up to the short edge of the mat. I'll bring that left foot in. And we've all done warrior two, but we're going to come in, sorry, I'm just going to, so humble warrior, which is what we're going to do, and I was just testing that out. So I'm going to bring my arms parallel with my shoulders. Inhale. As I exhale, I bend my front standing leg. I'm going to walk that foot out because I'd like a wider stance. Open that both thighs out, so we're opening the thighs, drawing the shoulders down in. I'm then going to sweep my hands behind me and interlace my fingers as I did before and draw my hands down into the back. And I'm going to take my body forward in line with my knee and reach my body forward if I can, and my arms come up at a diagonal as if we did at the start of the class into humble warrior. This is quite a new pose. Inhale, lift the arms up, back and away, and we come back up to standing. Release the hands, coming into warrior two, and then turn those toes out, and then lower the arms so we're nice and safe, and we're still in this straddle pose. So we're going to do something else in this straddle pose. Turn the toes out and the heels are now in. And we're going to come into a goddess pose. So I'm going to breathe in, arms long, 5-pointed star, nice and long. As I exhale, my hands come to the prayer position. Exhale, my knees bend, I bring my hands towards my heart, and I'm in a namaste position. As we did at the start of class, bring those elbows nice and high. Open the thighs, and we're going to push the hands over towards the right, like we did at the start of the class. And then we're going to take our gaze over towards our left. Bring the gaze forward, and then bring the hands to center. And we're going to do that on the other side. Push the hands over towards the left, Take the gaze over towards the right, keeping those elbows up. Bring the gaze forward, bring the hands to center. Inhale, come into 5-pointed star. Exhale, lower the hands down. And then give the hips a little bit of a wiggle, and we'll do all of that on the left hand side. So we'll start off with our triangle pose. So take the left foot to the short edge of the mat, the right foot comes in, nice and strong, good. And we'll come into triangle pose to start. So my hips are towards the long edge of the mat as well. Inhale, lifting my arms nice and high. Exhale, reaching past my waist but keeping my hips there, dropping down and reaching either for my thigh, my shin, my ankle or my foot, and then again my left arm reaches, or my other arm, the arm at the top, reaches either to the hip or perpendicular we're aiming for. And again, your focus can be either to the floor, straight in front of you, or towards the ceiling. And it's opening out that chest. Keep breathing. Inhale and lift that hand and use the hand to reach up and lift you up and out of the pose. Draw the left foot in towards the long edge of the mat. So now my toes are pointing forward and my heels are pointing back. Inhale, we're coming into a straddle pose, forward fold. This time, exhale, take your hands behind you, interlace the fingers, and then we're going to come forward in a straddle pose, but our arms are going to come behind us. Keep breathing. Inhale, coming up to standing, so bringing the hands down and bringing the body upright, nice and steady. Release the hands, and then we're going to come into our warrior two pose. So rotate the left foot out towards the short edge of the mat again and come into our warrior two stance. Inhale, lifting the arms towards the shoulders. Exhale, bend the front standing leg. Rotate the thighs down and away. We'll come into humble warrior. So sweep the arms behind you, interlace the fingers, and this time reach the chest forward and bring the arms up. Breathing in and out. In and bringing the body upright. Come through warrior two, so finding that strong warrior two stance, and then lengthening that front standing leg, and then just inching your heels and toes together into a standing position and give your legs a little bit of a break. Well done. So we're going to come into a balance and then work our way down to the floor. So our balance is going to be half moon pose. And so I'm going to, you can use a bit of item for you, or we're going to have the hands on the floor and I'll give people variations. So I'm going to come to the top, short edge of the mat, doesn't matter which. And I'm stepping my left leg back into a lunge. So I'm stepping my foot back and I'm going to come into high crescent lunge. So my heel is off at the front and my front leg is nice and straight just here. I'm going to bring my hands up towards the ceiling into high crescent lunge. Just pause there for a moment. As I breathe out, I'm going to sweep my hands forward and find the earth. So both hands are reaching towards the earth and I've got my weight over my right leg. I'm going to lift my left leg off the floor and my right hand is going to come flat on the floor. So I'm taking my left leg off the floor and my right hand is coming flat on the floor. So that's level one. Level two is reaching that left arm out parallel. And level three is all the way up towards the ceiling in for a pose. So we can, this is half moon pose just here. And again, you might just have both hands onto the mat, and that's absolutely fine as well. So find that pose which suits you. And then when you're ready, lower that left hand down, bend the front standing leg, find the back foot onto the mat, sweep your arms back up into high crescent lunge, and then exhale, bring those down, and then step that foot forward nice and safely. And we'll do that on the other side. So I'm going to step my right foot back into high crescent lunge. So step the right foot back into high crescent lunge. I've got my heel off at the back. My weight isn't in my front standing leg. Inhale, my hands come up towards the sky, my shoulders down. Exhale, my hands sweep forward and they find the earth either side of the left foot. I'm going to take the weight over my front standing leg, releasing my right foot off the floor. I've got both hands on the floor at the moment. Now, if that's fine and you're feeling comfortable with that, place the left hand flat on the floor and then release the right hand off the floor. Now, the right hand might come parallel with the mat, with the floor, or all the way up towards the ceiling for the full pose. Sweep that right hand down, bend the front standing leg, lower the right foot down, find your high crescent lunge position, sweep the hands back up towards the ceiling, and then exhale, step that right leg in, and then come back to a standing position, ready to start. And we can work on that as well. So well done, guys. So we're going to come down to the mat to do a little bit of back work. So we'll use this opportunity to come into plank from this position here. So we'll come through mountain and forward fold. So I'm standing in mountain pose at the top edge of the mat. I'm going to breathe, my hands come up towards the ceiling, nice and high. I breathe out and I come into forward fold as I would in sun salutation, and my hands reach towards the earth. Now from this position I'm going to step into plank however you'd like to get there. So I can either go through a square lunge or stepping straight through into a low lunge and then into plank. So a modified option would be bringing my right knee down, bringing my left knee down to meet, and then lowering myself down to the mat and from plank and down in. So we're going to do a few things here just for a little bit of a stretch. Coming into a few back bends. So open the knees, open the thighs and the feet, and the feet are going to go to either side, either end of the short edge of the mat, down at the bottom. And we're going to come into a little bit of a baby cobra to start with. So bring your hands towards your chest and you tuck your elbows in tight. And breathing in, and I'm going to do this 4 times, and each time I'm going to lift my back a little bit higher. So breathe in and lift the back up, and it might just come back up a little bit. Breathe out and lower the chest down towards the mat. Breathe in, lifting the chest a little bit higher. Breathe out and then lower down. Breathe in and then take the gaze maybe parallel with the wall, drawing the shoulders down. Breathe out and down, and then the final one, we're going to come into what is your full cobra pose. So taking the weight into the hands, drawing the shoulders down, and then taking the gaze up towards the ceiling. Breathe out and then lowering the body down. We're going to come into child's pose, so keep your hands at the chest and then push yourself back and draw the hips towards the heels and then come into a child's pose. And you might want to have your hands either in extended child's pose or with your hands either side of your shins and just relaxing over. Bring your hands towards your head and or the knees, and then lift yourself up. And we're just going to come over onto our bottom, so turn yourself around and we'll do some stretches just in the seated position just here. So I'm going to bring my right foot for a forward fold. So my right foot's going to come towards my left thigh, and I'm going to sit up nice and straight and tall, and I'm going to do a little bit of a forward fold from this position here. So find your 2 sit bones, lift yourself nice and high, reaching towards the sky, extend forward and lengthen the chest towards your thigh, and your hands can either come to your knees, your shins, the ankles, or reaching forward towards the foot. Take the right hand and place it on outside of the left foot. So we're crossing the wrist over the ankle. And then we're going to sweep the left arm up diagonally for a twist. So if you haven't got your hand on the foot, it can go onto the outside of the calf muscle as well, or the ankle. And we're opening out and stretching out diagonally upwards. Sweep the left hand back down into a forward fold. Walk the hands back up the leg and come up to a seated position, and we'll come into cobbler's pose. So bring both of the soles of the feet together, knees open, lifting up nice and straight and tall. Exhale, and we draw our chest forward fold in a flat back towards the floor. And we'll stay here for a number of breaths while we just ease out the spine, feeling a stretch in the hips. I know that if I just maintain this pose, I just sink with every breath, allowing I've got quite tight hips, and actually this is really nice for easing out any tension in the lower back. And then bringing your body upright when we're ready. And then lengthening the right leg, bringing the left foot into the inside of the thigh. We'll come back up to a seated position, and we'll do that forward fold stretch on the other side. So my right leg is straight, my right foot is flexed. I found my 2 sit bones. I'm inhaling, my arms come up towards the ceiling. I breathe out and I lengthen forward towards my right foot, allowing the body to sink over and relaxing the head over the knee. And then gently lifting the body slightly upright so that you can take your left hand on the outside, either at the ankle, the foot, or the calf muscle. And then the right hand sweeps diagonally up for an open twist. Sweep the hand down again. Come forward fold, and then walk the hands back up the leg, coming back up to a seated position. And then we're going to find the mat and work our way down to our backs. And we'll do a couple of stretches here, a couple of new ones. Oh, that's nice. So working your way down to the mat, my knees are up, my feet flat on the mat. And I'm going to do a new pose. So it's kind of like a cow face pose, but reclined. So I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to play across it over my left leg. So my right leg is over my left leg. I'm then going to take my right hand and reach towards my left foot. And my left hand is going to come towards my right foot. And I'm flexing my feet, so give my feet something to do. And I'm drawing my feet in towards me, and it's quite a deep hip stretch. So my knees are crossed and my toes and feet are pointing outwards. And I'm drawing my feet up and my knees up towards me. And I should be feeling this as a deep stretch in my right hip. Lower the feet down, uncross the legs, and we'll do that on the other side. So take the left leg over the right leg. Lift both knees up towards the ceiling. Take the left hand and reach towards the right foot, and then the right hand reaches towards the left foot. Flex both feet and draw those feet in towards you. And then release the feet. And then give both knees a little bit of a hug. And we're in wind relieving pose. Rock side to side, massage the spine and the lower back. And final pose, we'll come into happy baby pose. So you've got your knees up already. So one option, level one option, is having the soles of the feet pointing towards the ceiling. Take your hands on the outside of the leg, reach towards the backs of the thighs, and widen the knees and draw the knees towards the shoulders. And that's level one. Level two is reaching towards the outside of the feet and then using the feet and drawing the knees either side of the armpits. So you're drawing them down a little bit. So whether you've got your hands at the back of the thigh or hands on the feet, you're trying to draw your knees either side of the armpits. And then again, we'll do a little bit of a rock, side to side, massaging the lower back, massaging the spine. Release your hands from your feet and just allow the feet to fall to the mat. And then lengthen out into corpse pose or shavasana, ready for a little bit of a guided relaxation and have a little poem for you. So maybe just getting a jumper on. Or a blanket. And then settling yourself into the mat when you're ready. So gently allowing yourself to settle into the mat. Lengthen your feet over towards the short edge of the mat and allow the legs to be long and the thighs to rotate outwards. Feel the ankles loosen and allow the ankles and the feet to fall away from your legs. Working up, allow the hips to soften into the mat. As you do so, allowing the middle of the back to release and relax. Soften the abdomen. Allow the upper back to sink into the mat a little bit further. As you work up the body, feel the shoulders soften. Feel the neck loosen and the jaw soften too. Relax the cheekbones. Relax the eye sockets. Feel the top of the head and the forehead smooth and relax. And as you lie there, just take some breaths, breathing in, breathe out, and allow the body to relax. Breathe in, breathe out, and allow the body to relax. So I've got a small poem for you. Just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now, lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you, and the infinite expanse of the sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it. Just for now, allow a wave of breath to enliven your experience. Breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth. Just for now, be boundless, be free, with awakened energy tingling in your hands and feet. Drink in the possibility of being who and what you really are. So fully alive that the world looks different, newly born and vibrant, just for now. Start to bring your awareness back into your own body. Take some deeper breaths and allow that breath to enter in through the nose, travel down the back of the throat, reach the lungs and expand the lungs. Feel the cold air travelling through your nose, down the back of the throat, filling the lungs, and then feel the warm air leaving back the way it came. Start to send energy into the fingertips, into the toes. Moving the hands at the ankle, at the wrists, and the feet at the ankles. Perhaps taking a yawn and a stretch. And then working your way over to your side. And in your own time, coming up to a seated position in an easy pose. People are awakening, that's lovely. So we'll finish with a namaste, and I want you just to reflect on the intention that you set at the beginning of the class, and just give it a moment, and whether actually it went from your head during the class or whether it stuck with you. But maybe we should revisit that next week. But thank you for joining me today, particularly because it was a really nice evening, and I know it would have been nice having barbecue outside. So I appreciate you taking part, and we'll finish with a thank you and a namaste. Namaste.